Cold
This is
open.
what is going to happen when you talk to me. I talk a lot. That is just 10% of GenCon. We are in an era where there's infinite amount of content being generated by such
Yeah.
extremely talented people across the world. So that puts a lot of pressure on us who are creators
Yeah.
sitting in India.
Phalgun, thank you so much for coming to this whatever small channel that I have and talking to me about this, about the work that you're doing. We had actually, in fact, planned to talk during Gen Con, but I knew that you were going to be busy, and I knew that what, we'll talk after it. So I just like let it be. It would have been fun, but
Yeah.
it would have been like way too much work.
Oh, it would have been a blast there, man. But yeah, no, honestly speaking, we had zero time to do anything. We were freaking zombies in Gen Con
Yeah.
because everything that looks. mm, I mean, we looked at the map, right?
Hmm.
We had access to the vendor hall, and
Hmm.
if you've seen the videos, which are very extremely, very popular when you somebody talks about Gen Con, is that massive crowd waiting to enter the hall, right?
Yeah.
That is just 10% of Gen Con.
God.
It is just the tip of the iceberg. Gen Con is a freaking universe. And though we were there for 6 days,
Hmm.
and we would come there at 9 o'clock in the morning and leave at 11 p.m. in the night. And
Oh.
so we are there for more than 12 hours, and still I think we've just covered like a percent, 1% or 2% of what Gen Con is. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that is what I want to bring to India, right?
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
unfortunately, we have tried collaborating with a lot of people, and
Hmm.
we've realized that, you know, the kind of ambition and passion and excitement that you have,
Hmm.
you cannot transfer it to other people. That
Yeah,
this is
that's
a
true.
typical CEOs or founders problem, right? Even
Yeah.
a creative artist, like for example, there's only one Michelangelo, right? You can't he can't how much ever he trains other people, there's only one Michelangelo. So this was but what we are trying to do is, um, with Tea Talks, it it was a completely different experience. On paper, before we started organizing Tea Talks, on paper it looked completely different from what it is right now. Um so the synergies and this behavioral things that we saw, but most important thing that hit us really hard was how the community comes together.
Hmm.
And I think by the third or fourth edition of Tea Talks, it was on autopilot. So yeah, that is what we are actually noticing time and again, that when you create a platform for community to come, I mean, the moment you notice that pockets of what do you say, people actually taking up responsibility on themselves and building a community by themselves, if you bring them together under one roof, right? We have seen what happens. It's just crazy. So you might have noticed last May when you came, right? I mean, uh, we are refining it constantly. In fact, if you ask the people who attended, they're like, "Oh man, this is so cool. Why don't you make it like a week long thing and stuff like that?" It's very expensive, but more importantly, getting that kind of feedback is great. It's always a good problem to have when people say, "Hey, I didn't have space to sit because it was so full. The game I wanted to play was always tabled by someone else." That's a better problem to have than people saying, "Dude, there are empty tables. There's nobody sitting. You just wasted 7-8 lakhs renting out this place, and there's nobody attending," right? That is the biggest nightmare me and Shweta have every time we organize a convention of any sort. So right now we are doing GameX, we're doing T Talks. Uh, The thing is, we have been to a lot of conventions, as I said, from Japan to US, right? I mean, we exhibited in Board Game Geek Convention, the OG,
Okay.
and then we also exhibited. Even before that, we went to SN.
Hmm.
SN is the mecca, right? It's like the biggest convention in the world. But each, as I said, each of these conventions have their own DNA, and you cannot copy paste a particular
Yeah.
template in a country. Okay. To give you an example, SN closes by 6 o'clock. After that, there's nothing. So opens at 10, closes at 6. Um,
Wow, that's short. That feels
That's
very short.
really short. That's very short. And then you're like, okay, now what? Right? Uh, but the beautiful thing is, there are some events happening in different hotels, all like, the Marriotts and Hyatts and stuff like that.
Hmm.
US conventions are very different. They're 24/7.
Hmm.
So, in fact, there are posters everywhere saying, please take a shower, maintain personal hygiene, you know,
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they're there, it's 24/7. They don't go
Okay.
back to their rooms. They don't mind
Oh,
sleeping
yeah.
on the
Yeah, I've seen people like, either after the con ends or the day ends, they go to a party. Like
exactly.
there's a hangout happening, or
So they're
there's a
called
meetup happening.
mixers.
Yeah, and
Oh
mixers. Yeah,
man, you
yeah.
will not believe it, dude. If this is Gen Con,
Hmm.
this small, I mean, like this small sliver of a section is the vendor
Yeah.
hall.
Mm.
That is
Okay.
where the 650 booths are and people are flowing into that hall, right? The
Uh-huh.
rest of the convention is outside the vendor hall. It is crazy. It is
Wow.
crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are halls after halls and floors after floors, all this entire massive convention connected to more hotels by skywalks. The Asian conventions,
Hmm.
Japan Tokyo Game Show is a completely different thing. They are the games that are played there, the games which are tabled and people are excited about are very different. Okay. So primarily there are two categories, right? The two categories of conventions are one is a gaming convention, the other one is a B2C. So
Hmm.
if it is B2C, it's primarily stalls and stalls and stalls. So SN
Yeah.
is a a sales convention.
Okay.
So that's the reason you have 1,100 booths over there, right?
Yeah. Fair.
And what pissed me off when we went to SN, I mean, though we were like the first publisher to come from India and exhibit there
Uh-huh.
in 60 years and all of that, I was actually very angry. Half of a football stadium was dedicated to Korea board games.
What?
They had 350 to 375 games on display. I think last year they had close to 600 games on display.
Okay.
And what are we Indians doing? We are 1.5 billion people, and our freaking
Yeah.
population of even upper middle class is bigger than 90% of the world's countries' populations, right?
Uh-huh.
And what is happening, right? You're making content, we are making content. You saw the number of designers at eTalks.
Yeah.
There's so many communities happening there. What is Why is it that in 2025 we are seeing this kind of traction and not in 2018 or 2015, right? So that is what I was actually taking a look at. And then we realized people in India. So if you look at the entire ecosystem, right,
Hmm.
a convention will work when there are two main components, right? One is you need games and you need gamers, right? So
Yeah.
we have infinite number of gamers, and there are a lot of gamers who have no exposure to what board games are,
Yeah.
what tabletop RPG is. Like if I actually show you the map of GenCon, or in fact there is a video on Mosaic Games which I just recorded where I take people through the maps of how the layout is. Okay, close to 70% of all of the events at GenCon was not board games. We felt
Really?
like a minority in that entire convention
Really?
making tabletop games. everything was RPGs and live action role play. And,
Interesting.
when we actually started talking about tabletop games, we felt like children in front of these guys who play RPGs and all. So every damn hall, every damn,
Hmm.
like, there were 5 Marriotts around. Okay, 5 Marriotts. Can you imagine? Okay,
I can't.
and each of these Marriotts has around 10 to 12 massive halls. Okay, like
Mhm.
4,000 to 6,000
Yeah.
square feet halls. It's always RPG, LARP, and TCGs. TCGs is another thing. So there is
Mhm.
one massive oil factory which was there, and they've made that into a football stadium. It's called Lucas Oil Stadium. It's
Okay.
freaking huge. Okay, Indianapolis is known for racing and football, and this particular Lucas Oil Stadium, they had something called True Dungeon. True Dungeon is the life-size version of the dungeon. Like, you
A dungeon
literally,
crawl.
like a dungeon crawler. You go in and you're lost in this maze, right? You're trying
Yeah.
to figure out.
Okay.
Yeah, it's live, literally live action. And after that, there was Magic the Gathering, which occupied almost one and quarter of the entire stadium.
Yeah, that's
uh,
huge.
it's huge. And another quarter of the stadium was dedicated to Bandai's TCGs. So Gundam and
Mm-hmm.
One Piece and all of these were as TCGs. People were tabling it, and they're obsessed with TCGs. In fact,
Yeah, I've
the
seen that.
entire board game industry or tabletop gaming industry in the US was like, the stores and everything was set up for trading card games.
Yeah.
So they would go and pick these packs, and they keep, right now, after a big break of TCGs being extremely popular, I think for more than a decade,
Mm-hmm.
it came back in the form of Lorcana. So Lorcana was the Disney TCGs that they created. And
Mm-hmm.
dude, if you just search for GenCon and Lorcana, you will see the number of people waiting in the queue. That line went all around Indianapolis, and they had to like put queue management systems in place to manage these queues. So it was crazy.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen that just now. Yeah.
So I think that this was in 2023. 2023
Okay.
was when this happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the DNA of GenCon, because GenCon was created by the founder of D&D, Gary Gygax.
Mm-hmm.
So when Gary Gygax started his small convention near the Geneva Lake, that's the reason he called it Gen Con, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see that legacy in, like, it's there in the DNA. I mean, while you're walking around whole of Gen Con, I mean, believe me, dude, one entrance to, by the time we walked to the booth, it was 1.5 kilometer, and it would take us like 25 minutes. Just, it's crazy, dude. We are
I can't
under a
imagine.
roof in an AC sheltered building. Okay, and you're walking and walking and walking across the waste of the convention center and then to the booth, right? It's literally 1.5 kilometer.
Sounds
That's
bigger
inside.
than some of the expos that I've been to in India.
100%. I mean, Bharat Mandapam is close to that. They're doing a
Okay.
great job. There's so many things, and it's centrally located. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
so proud that we have something like that, but we don't have anything like that in Bangalore. So
Yeah.
there is one place called KTPO in Bangalore. I mean, every city has that, Chennai Trade Center or
Mm-hmm.
Karnataka Trade Promotion, whatever. But they're very expensive. It's not affordable. I don't know how
Yeah.
Comic Con actually runs it, but yeah, I mean, we should get there eventually. Uh,
Inshallah.
so if you look at the Asian conventions like Thai, Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, and China now. Recently, China had one of the largest TCG conventions ever. It even beat SN and everything, and it was only for TCGs. And so if you look at Asia, it's primarily TCGs, because they Pokemon and all of these originated from Japan, and then
Hmm.
people are obsessed with it, right? They're manufactured, and even their customs is so streamlined that importing stuff into their country is a breeze, right? We are stuck in the middle. Sitting in India, we are not there. We are not in Europe. We are not in Asia. So we are like stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, imports are shit expensive.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. It is.
for anybody to enter, there's so much of red tapeism, and you need now there's this thing called BIS, which is like an ISI mark for toys and games. Toys make sense. I never understood
Mhm.
why an Uno needs a BIS, right?
It
So
does.
you basically
Okay.
need a safety certificate to say that this particular product in so games are under the same umbrella as toys, right? Unfortunately. So
Mhm.
puzzles, jigsaw puzzles, construction kits, Legos, and dude, Lego is so much more dangerous, man. Bloody, you step on it, you're going to remember it for weeks.
Yeah, for life. Yeah, I have remembered it. I still remember the pain of stepping on a
Right.
block.
In fact, somebody had solved that problem of stepping on Lego bricks by making a chappal which had those, things. So it actually
Which
goes
can
and log. Yeah.
okay.
But, having said that, it's very important for somebody to understand the beast that we are handling. India is a gold mine. India is so massive. More importantly, we are a country full of nerds,
Yeah, that's
right?
whether people like to admit or not. Even like the people who say they are not nerds, they are going to be nerds about something.
They are absolutely. I mean, no matter what, when people call you a geek or a nerd, there are different definitions, but then
Yeah.
they take it in a very negative way, right? There are conventions which happen almost every weekend in the US. So there are close to 300 conventions across US in a year.
Yeah.
Okay. They're like small conventions. And
Yeah.
if you listen to these podcasts, they keep telling you about these conventions across the country,
Yeah.
in US. Or so US in the tabletop scene is obviously is a huge chunk. If I had to draw a pie chart just to show you how big the US market is compared to the others, it's bigger than 50%.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
if you go to any crowdfunding campaigns and go to the community tab, you'll see which is the country where most of the backers have come. More than 50% are from America, right? US
Hmm.
alone. Now, I used to wonder why. Okay, I used to understand. I mean, I used to see, is there any way that India can catch up with these countries from the economies? You know, I kept thinking, dude, for us, we have people, we have a huge population, right? They might be broke, but we have a huge population. If you look at the upper middle class, or even if you look at the entire pyramid, right?
Hmm.
We are still nowhere in the vicinity of a middle class in US.
No. Yeah.
Okay. For them, spending, like, to give you an example, an average household in US, where they call them uh, they don't call them middle class, they call them something else. So they basically live in houses which are apartments. Okay, so if there are houses which have multi-level and more
Yeah.
like flats, right? They call it something, keep forgetting the name. Anyway, it's called low revenue housing or something like that.
Okay.
Okay, mid revenue or low revenue, something like that. Okay. Those guys spend more than 5 to 6 thousand units of electricity in a month. I can freaking power a mall with the amount of energy they consume to run a house. And these were the analysis that I was actually doing. And for them, paying a current bill is nothing, right? To give you an example,
Okay.
like, for example, just to understand the difference in wallet sizes, right? If you look at the Reliance Industries, Mukesh Ambani, right?
Hmm.
Mukesh Ambani, flew to US in his private jet, and it's a freaking Boeing,
Yeah.
and it's completely painted in gold. Have you seen? You saw that a lot of people started sharing these reels that, what is this gold Boeing plane? What is it doing parked in LAX for so many days? And people
Mhm.
kept asking, it has an India flag on it? Who is this? Right? And can you imagine the amount of money that goes into fueling that jet, flying there, all of the fees that you have to pay to everybody just to get your plane there? For
Yeah.
him, it's a means of transport. That is rapido for him,
Yeah.
right?
But mm,
Can you see, like, the difference in spending power, right? Disposable income. So
yeah.
I was actually comparing it with US and other countries, right? Japan and Europe and stuff like that. The amount of money US makes as an individual, and the way their lifestyle and how they go crazy when it comes to, it's a very consumer driven market.
Very. Yeah.
Okay, when I say consumer driven, there are plus pros and cons. So they get a ton of stuff from publishers, like in the tabletop scene, right? They have made it super easy to get their products into America, because these guys can spend, they can make more money, they can get more content, I mean more products in, and uh, what do you say, merch and things like that into US. Like, to give you an example, if I bought a D20 dice set in China, a packet of it which has the 7 dice that you typically use in D20, and you buy the same thing in a US store, is the same cost. How are they managing to do this? So when I say consumer driven, more the supply, no matter how innovative or cutting edge the tech might be or cutting edge the product might be, just because there's a high supply, the price
Mm.
falls. You might have seen this, cameras and computers and
Yeah.
everything, right? It'll cost you one third the price in US.
Yeah.
It's because of this. So for them, it's not. You okay?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm okay. I just hit
Yeah,
my table.
yeah. If you look at it in India, higher the innovation, more the innovation in that particular product or service, more you pay, right?
Mm.
Just
Yeah.
imagine, no matter what, in Asian countries, that is how the pricing is done. Whether you go to Singapore or wherever you go, like for example, in India, at least it's way better in many ways. Now it's getting even better with a lot of policy changes and stuff like that. But to see the impact of that, it'll take a few years. Like for example, they just changed the GST from, they made it 2 slabs or 3 slabs or something like
Yeah.
that. To see that take effect, it takes around 2 to 3 years,
Yeah. At least.
right? So lot of things are changing, but India is in a mode where it's called protectionism when it comes to economy, right? So they're trying to support Indian manufacturing, Indian manufacturers, Indian industries, and stuff like that. So that means they're going to limit imports. When they limit imports, all of these games that we are drooling at, all of these merch and action figures and whatever you might be drooling at, since they're not made in India, is going to cost you a bomb. What's the solution? Take the license, make it in India. Simple.
Mm.
Why import? We have the
Yeah.
capability to manufacture any damn
Anything.
thing. Okay. Look at the packaging for soap boxes and toothpaste boxes. They're amazing, right? And they're throwaway products. That is the
Exactly.
capability that we have. In a radius of 3 kilometers for me, I can actually choose a manufacturing unit for my games now.
Mm.
I can actually choose the printer I want based on their
Yeah.
capability. That is the power I have sitting in Bangalore. My manufacturer is just a kilometer down the road. That is the powers we have. So this is what I was actually looking at, right? The pros and cons and what advantages do we have. And believe me, the advantages we have, and the, it's not just about being an advantage, it's about how big is this advantage,
Mm.
right? Like China has access to everything, but then
Yeah.
the China is far from every other country, right?
Very.
So, and now with the new tariffs on, so I mean, I'm just going around the whole thing, just giving you an idea
No,
of
no,
how this
absolutely,
whole
that's fine.
ecosystem. Yeah,
No,
just to give you how an idea of how huge this ecosystem is.
yeah,
Like, to give you an example, tabletop gaming was started. I mean, at least modern strategy and Euro games and all that started in Germany.
yeah,
Okay, and the kind of games that are launched in Essen in a span of 2 days, there are close to 2,000 to 3,000 games launched in a span of 4 5 days that the convention happens. Okay, just in 4 5 days at Essen, there are close to 3,000 games launched, new games and stuff like that. And this has been happening for years, for decades. None of them come to India, right? We are still
hmm,
in the Monopoly and Fun School and Hasbro games era, right? Now
yeah,
that's changing. But having said that, US takes the creme de la creme of all of these games launched in Europe. Okay. So people go there, like for example, every time there's an SN, those games again are launched in US in another convention called PAX Unplugged, which happens in Philadelphia. Okay. So all of those game launches that happen in SN will be launched in BGG Con and
yeah,
PAX Unplugged and stuff like that. And the next year they trickle down into Gamma Convention, into Origins Convention, into GenCon and stuff like this. Okay. So what gets super popular in SN, the creme de la creme of that, like the top 1 2% of the games are consumed by America. So these guys will look at those 100 200 games and they drool at it, they'll do reviews of it and blah blah blah.
mm,
In that 100 games they make a top 10 list, top 20 list, right? And in that top 20 list, we take the creme de la creme of that in India. We are
mm,
actually, all of the content creators, infinite amount of content that's being created.
yeah,
We are taking just the tip of the tip of the tip of that iceberg. So there's a lot of other stuff being consumed, and nobody's keeping track of what else is being launched. So this is what you'll actually experience when you go to these international conventions, and the reason why I keep telling Indian designers and publishers to go to one of these conventions just to know where they are in the world,
mm,
right? Where do you, like size up to, right? Like, where are you? Like, if you look at the entire benchmark of sorts.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
Wh-
I'm so happy that you could come and witness it firsthand. And
It was on a literally like in December. I went to interview Abhimanyu Gimire. The he's a
D&D
yeah,
guy, yeah.
yeah. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah, Feb of last year
Hmm.
is when both of us taught game design in Srishti,
Oh, nice.
along with two other people. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I was interviewing him and I was like, okay, I have the rest of my day today. Like my bus is tomorrow morning going back. Like, oh, what do I do? And he's like,
Hmm.
oh, there's a convention happening today. I think it's the last day. I'm like, oh, where is it happening? And
Oh,
I go,
that's when you came to Tea Talks December. I
yeah,
saw you walking around with a tripod and camera, and I was like, dude, I've never seen this guy before. And you did introduce yourself to me, but
yeah, but
there are so
like
many
we were
people
all
around.
like so many things, and
Yeah,
I was like, we'll talk later.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I had a ball, had a blast because like I got to meet so many like great designers, and so and compared from the December one to the May convention, where in December like your volunteers were running around asking, "Hey, would you like to be part of this table? We're looking for players."
Exactly.
To all of the tables being full all the time in
Yeah.
May, and now it being expanded into three three whole days in a bigger venue.
I mean, you got to witness two different versions of Tea Talks, basically.
Uh-huh.
So, in fact, the December Tea Talks was the fourth edition, right?
Yeah.
For us, we've done one, two, three already. We
Mhm.
did one in Bangalore in a school. That was the first place where we actually did the first Tea Talks, where the school called Leela Gurukulam, they had more board games in their collection than us. We were like, okay,
Really?
Yeah, it's a school
Okay.
where they actually don't use textbooks; they use games, and
Interesting.
it blew our mind, man. The first time we went there, we were like, dude. I mean, they had like three massive halls, okay, and they had invited us because the kids of age from 5 to 7 years had made a 3D version of Valamkali, which is like our boat racing game that we had designed, right? I mean, the kids had made like a massive version of it with, they've made it by hand, they've made the boards, they've drawn it, and it blew my mind. So they invited us for that, and I was just first of all amazed that a school was using Kali to teach children that though you have control over things, the outcomes are not in your control. You're right,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, that's what they were teaching children using the game. I was like, I wish somebody taught us this when I was a kid, right? Right. So I was amazed, and I'm actually walking around, and the principal, who's actually a 19-year-old kid, she's awesome. I mean, she runs the entire school. All the teachers are homeschooled. Okay, game school. That's what they call it.
Okay.
Uh, Games are in their blood. Believe me, the way they have gamified everything, that's the way it should have been done. In fact, the word gamification is such an abused word now, right? they
Yeah.
think they think that you just create leaderboards, that's the way to gamify things.
Mm.
That's wrong. You're actually singling out people, performers, and telling others that you suck.
Seriously.
Gamification is the other way around, right? So I mean, that's a content for a different podcast, but um when we went there, they started showing us, hey, we just rented. Took that entire hall. Now it's part of the school and stuff. I was just looking at all these empty rooms, just walls and nothing in the middle. And like, we can actually run a convention here, right? And
Mm.
I was constantly thinking about running conventions, and yeah, she was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay. She's
Just
like,
like, yeah.
yeah, she's like, sure, you can use it. And they gave us the premises for free. So
Okay.
she said, see, I'm going to push you off the cliff. I want to be the person who's going to push you off the cliff where you do the first detox here. And whether it's going to be a success or not, we don't know. But we're going to give you that chance to run it. Okay. And since the halls were still new and they just rented them out and they still hadn't put the tables and shelves and all of that, they were still open. We did the first detox there. I thought it's super far for everybody in Bangalore. It's in RR Nagar, Rajarajeshwari Nagar, which is like the
Okay.
outer circle of Bangalore.
Mm-hmm.
And people still came. 650 people came. I was like, oh my goodness. We ran out of passes. And my printing guy had to go in the middle and print those passes and come. The
Yeah.
entire game library was run by two people, just two. Jaxi, the guy who used to work with me then, and Akhil.
Mm.
You met Akhil from Maple Syrup, right? He's
Mm-hmm.
the guy. Yeah, he's one superstar. So these two guys ran the whole thing, and the goal was, in fact, this is what I want to push in India as well. That don't take the game and sit there and wait for somebody to teach you. At least unbox it, follow the, familiarize yourself with what the game is, read the overview, what is the objective of the game, look at the components, do the initial setup at least, right?
Yeah.
Why just sit there and like, oh, okay, somebody has to teach me this? Why?
Yeah.
Open the box, figure it out. You have 12 hours in your hands and it's 24 hours, 2 days.
Yeah.
Nobody's charging you per hour here, right? That
Exactly. You
the
take
whole
a bus,
reason
you can stay for like 12 hours, play n number of games.
exactly. So figure it out. I mean, even if it takes 2 3 hours, it's okay. We are not
Yeah.
charging you per hour, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the problem when you go to a cafe, right? They are like, okay, we're at a cafe. You have a great collection. I have 1 hour time. I can only afford $100 per person.
Mm-hmm.
What is that one game you can get us right into it? So the game that the game master chooses in a cafe also is something which the teaches less, and you get to play
Yeah.
fast and accommodate 6 people or 8 people or 10 people at the table.
Mm-hmm.
And you know you end up playing very simple games. You end up playing games with hidden roles, like like mafia or secret Hitler
Mm-hmm.
kind of games, right? Because it can accommodate larger crowds, it's fast, easy to teach, and
Yeah.
very engaging, finishes in an hour and you leave. And at Tea Talks, we wanted to make it in such a way that nobody is going to pester you to buy. You don't have to buy. Buying games is not the priority of Tea Talks.
Yeah.
That's a byproduct. The main thing is there's going to be a killer collection of games, a great library. There are going to be people coming from across the country who built their own communities, and you get to play with them. Like, there were so many people who came and they said, "Oh, I got to play with Lux, right? Lakshmi, who owns Dicey Discovery, or got to play with Akil or Tucker, or Ramlingam, who comes from Chennai for every Tea Talks. He works in the Navy. Believe me, I think.
God.
Yeah, and he works in a submarine. He's underwater 6 months a year and 6 months on land. So that guy makes sure he comes and he plays a truckload of games. In fact, I recorded a video with him many years ago where he kept telling me about, even when he's in the submarine, he's
Hmm.
constantly reading rule books.
Wow.
This is 4 years ago when I interviewed him, and I was basically talking to all these rock stars in the country, right?
Hmm.
It was very interesting to see the amount of passion that these guys have. And the thing about board games is, once you play a particular board game or tabletop game or RPG or anything, right? I mean, you're like, I want more people to try this out. I had
Yeah.
so much fun. They have to try it out. And like, that is the thing about tabletop games.
Yeah. I think I was so busy with interviewing and finding people to talk to that I couldn't play a lot of games in May. I did
Yeah,
get to sit and play one session of Arcs. Yeah,
with
it's a
factions and
conflict and yeah, Arcs conflict and collapse in the reach. It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah. So I got to
Beautiful
sit.
artwork and
Yeah,
adorable
absolutely.
components and
Yeah, you have these sectors, planets which you take control of, and all of that.
mm,
Um, I think the person who was running it was playing it for the second time because
mm.
that person like sat and played it like a couple of hours ago, and he's like, "Hey, we need more people." And I'm like, "I have some time finally. Like, okay,
Good.
whatever
You
board
should.
game that you have,
You
whatever
should
board
make
game,
time. Yeah,
yeah,
one
like
hundred percent.
I'm gonna sit and play this."
Yeah,
Like sat for like 2 or 2.5 hours, played. I think a couple of scenes of that, and I was like, more people should play this. This is such a great
exactly.
game.
So for us, what's happening is, every Tea Talks we are realizing some hotspots. Okay,
Uh-huh.
like RPG started becoming one of the hottest spots at Tea Talks. Okay, and people we realize that people are curious to know, what is this D&D, right? What is this Pathfinder? What are all these things?
I
Do you
have like
have?
three RPGs here. I don't. I have D&D starter set, but I have the main Call of Cthulhu rule book,
Oh,
and I
nice.
have this another game. Wait, let me show you that. So I have another game called. You must have heard about Masks.
Yeah,
So there's that, and then there's
I've
this
never
book
played it though, but
called Mappa Mundi.
whoa. Okay.
I think I'm the only person in India who has this. It's an exploration and ecology RPG. It's like alternate Earth, medieval alternate Earth, but you don't combat the monsters. You're observing them. You're chronicling them
Yeah, I
because
think that's a very interesting thing, right? As soon as you see an alien creature, you don't go attack.
yeah, like again, beautiful artwork, all like hand painted by this like amazing artist
Yeah.
that they have. Like they're one of the very few, I think, board like publishers who have their like full time artists because most of them are like
You
contractual.
should table this, man. You should bring it to
I
detox.
I do want to, and like it
Yeah.
has such a cool. It has like so many tarot cards of like
Right.
environments, monsters, and everything.
Can
I
you
have
show
ran.
me can you show me on either side of the card, how does it look? Does it have stuff written?
No, not
Okay.
really. So what it does is, it has basically, depending upon the clues that the players uncover, it can be placed either rightwise or inverted.
Oh shit.
So
Okay.
the game has three phases as an RPG. Like
Very cool.
the journey
Hmm.
phase will, depending on the clues, if they
Hmm.
don't uncover the clue about this place,
Hmm.
the journey will be much more tougher. So you place this
Hmm.
like inverted. Otherwise, you place it rightwise, and the journey is easier.
Oh my
And
God. We are actually designing a game for Tinkle,
ah,
and it's It's an exploration game. So these are all the scenes in that. I don't know if you can make.
Oh wow.
So yeah, there are lots of. So Shambhu is actually going around the forest trying to get a picture of a tiger or something like that. That's
Uh
what we're
huh.
planning,
Okay.
and we made it. We've added a lot of modern game mechanics into it, and I
Hmm.
really am curious because this is going to come out in a couple of months. Uh, they are going to so many Comic Cons, Tinkle and Amar Chitrakatha, so they need
Hmm.
a new game. Supandi was a hit apparently, so now we are designing close to 7 or 8 games for them. One is Panchatantra, which is coming out, which is a story building game.
Okay.
So
That's
yeah, so
interesting.
you work on the game in reverse. You know the moral of the story. Now
Hmm.
you have cards in your hand, and every player has to build the story up. So
Oh.
I'm working with Arvind for this. Arvind is helping
Hmm.
massively here.
Nice.
So he's actually, I mean, he's an epic storyteller, right? So he actually broke down how a story should be narrated into parts.
Mm.
So people who are actually playing the game, they also understand how to build a story. There's a start, there is an end, and then there's a lot in the middle.
Yeah.
So how do you build that up and stuff? And yeah, there's a lot of learning. We first of all, you learn a bit about Indian, stories, which is Panchatantra,
Hmm.
the five tantras, and so this is the thing, right? We are trying to put India on the world map. So all of our effort goes into designing games for ourselves, for our own banner, which is Mosaic Games, and also we design a ton of games for other people. And this is what we do. This is what we've been doing for the last 7, 8 years,
Hmm.
designing games all the time with an Indian narrative. And there are infinite number of narratives when you actually look at India, and you know that there are board games and stories and RPGs which have been already created, the length, breadth and depth of all history and mythology and
Yeah.
pop culture, sci-fi, everything has been covered.
There's
But
new RPGs every
within
day.
India we have a lot of opportunity, right?
Very, very much so.
Exactly.
Uh,
So we are in the
right.
right era, man. I mean, both of us are right now, in an era where we are seeing the crazy uptick that's happening in this market.
One of the reasons I also backed this one, they have a South Asian subcontinent called Garugoma, which is supposed to be the India, Bangladesh, Pakistan
Okay.
kind of that kind of area.
Hmm.
And they obviously worked with a cultural consultant to make sure like it's not very monolithic or in a way like, how West looks at India like
Hmm.
this is one aspect of India and that's what everything is. So like they worked with them and just to be like, hey,
Tell me about it.
it's
Hmm.
suppose it's actually like 10 different countries of it their own cultures mashed together. That's what it is. It's not a monolith. India is like
Hmm.
way more diverse
So
than
does
people
that book have a
realize.
lot of campaigns in it, like,
It
or
has so it it covers a few continents.
hmm.
So it has
This reminding me a lot of Vantage right now.
oh, it does.
Stone Mayer's new game.
Hmm. So it has campaign ideas. Uh, for most of the continent, they have left it up to people to interpret and to expand on it because most of them were white guys and they were like, hey, we don't want to put our own spin on it because we
Hmm.
would rather you do it, and they have like made a community license as well, like hey, you can make your own stuff.
I'm so glad you mentioned this. Right now, whenever I go and talk to all of these RPG guys or
Mhm.
stores, and ask them, hey, do you have D&D books for to take back home and stuff like that? They are so excited that we know what D&D is, first of all, right?
Hmm.
They're very
Yeah.
happy that, oh, which part of the world are you from? We're from India. And they're like, oh, is D&D big there? I'm like, oh, it's very big. And it's growing
Yeah.
exponentially. The adoption is like super fast, right? Um, so they're like, oh, how come we haven't seen any Indian lore? The first question they ask is, how come there's no Indian lore, right? Why are people hesitating from creating Indian lore? What are the roadblocks? What do you feel are the roadblocks?
I in fact, I looked deeply into, like, why I can't find any, either OSR or India inspired things. I found a couple of them, but they were extremely racist.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, but the thing is, like, for most of the people I have played on the tables, like who have GM'd me, they have made their own world. I don't know if it's like a publishing issue or if it's a hiring issue, or like, because
Do you
Tian
feel?
Shah has,
Hmm.
like, with Pathfinder, with
Hmm.
Tian Shah, they hired people from all across the globe to write for the different places. I haven't seen the same thing for uh, D&D. I have seen it for
There are a lot
Darrington
of
Press.
DMs who have become extremely popular across the world who are Indians.
Yeah.
There's
So, but they
this,
have made their own thing. Like Desi
yeah,
Quest made their own thing. Uh,
exactly.
and
Hmm.
Darrington Press, the Critical Roles, they have a continent which is kind of inspired by both Arabia and India, and they
Hmm.
had cultural consultants from, or from either Indian origin or from
Yeah,
India working for them.
why are we depending on Firungs to come up with everything?
Yeah,
We need to
exactly.
start working on stuff, right? I
Yeah,
mean, did you know that they made a Japan, I mean, Japanese themed D&D? Like,
they did.
sanctioned it. Yeah, check it out. All the character powers and characters are completely different.
I saw a Japanese ad about D&D. I didn't know,
Yeah,
like
so they
they
have
made.
actually, yeah, they've completely opened the doors for Japanese lore to enter D&D, and it
Okay.
actually makes sense. The characters and the character powers and character sheets, everything are customized for their lore,
Mm-hmm.
and it still follows the D&D skeleton. The 5e or whatever the edition is
Mm-hmm.
right now.
Yeah.
So I think it's high time, man. I mean,
Yeah.
so honestly speaking, there's a lot of, the ecosystem is ready. Okay, the ecosystem is ready. Now, if the person or the DM who's whipped up this particular lore, if he wants the entire world to try it out, there's Kickstarter. You can go
But
through someone
Kickstarter is
else,
not
run
in
a,
India, right?
yeah, but there are a lot of people, like, you can use my Kickstarter platform. I mean, I'm doing nothing on Kickstarter. I have a US company there, and I'm happy if people actually use the crowdfunding platform. Honestly speaking, the beauty about crowdfunding right now is, whether it's GameFound or BackerKit or Kickstarter, has always been there. There's so
Yeah.
many other crowdfunding platforms which are opening up,
Yeah.
and especially GameFound is dedicated for this, right? But now what's happening, there was a huge bubble which was waiting to burst. The bubble was, any crowdfunding campaign has to have all these minis, and they have to
Right.
invest in, like, truckload of these components which are drool worthy. But believe me, that bubble burst big time when Simon started struggling to fulfill uh, crowdfunded projects, and over promising all of these crazy. I mean, I bought one mega zombicide thing, which I had back 2 years ago or something like that. It came with 100, 200 minis, man. It's ridiculous. The funny thing is, just to keep that campaign going, they kept introducing a new character every day from mythology or from, history, and it became a mess. So it started off with Zombicide called White
Yeah.
Death, where they're fighting zombies on the
Uh-huh.
Great Wall of China, and they started adding Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to that whole universe, and then they started adding mythological characters from all Asian countries, whether it's India or China or Japan and everywhere. So we have Rama as an action, I mean, as a minifigure, and we have Lakshmana, and we also have Raja Rajendra Chola. What is the connection? It's like, it's like a Dasara. In South India, you set up these toys
Yeah.
on a thing, right? It's called a Golu. It's so funny. Somebody actually said that, this is like a freaking Dasara display, dude. You know,
It feels
yeah,
like.
yeah. So
Uh,
that bubble burst, and now people are actually, uh, now, because of the tariffs and manufacturing and all of that,
mhm.
they've again gone back to a more sustainable model where PDFs can be backed, and you're actually
Yeah.
supporting this creator, even though the output is, what you're going to get is just a PDF file.
Yeah.
They still are supporting because they want. So the beauty about crowdfunding platforms is there is a huge community, huge, I mean, massive community who are willing to wait for years, who
Yeah.
are willing to support even if that project, whether it fails or it comes to life or that person goes absconding, they don't care. They just want to support,
Hmm.
right? At one point of time, greed started taking over, greed and
Yeah.
FOMO, where they wanted to be the first person to have the exclusive components, and there is no limit to going exclusive with Kickstarter campaigns, right? You can keep
Yeah. You
adding
can.
crazy things into it. And then this whole tariff thing happened, and the whole Simon thing happened, and then over promising and under delivering and all of that, and digging your own grave by over promising.
Yeah.
um
That happens a lot.
yeah, I'm so glad that that bubble burst. We are actually, especially people sitting in India, it's like we get an opportunity to start this fresh.
Hmm.
And when you actually go onto Kickstarter or any of these platforms, or just start collaborating with somebody and get the campaign out. I mean, in fact, I am so tempted to start our own crowdfunding platform. In fact, I registered a site called Seed My Game. uh it's actually the domain is ready. I set up a whole thing, and I actually started asking designers, why don't you start putting your games? And then I realized there's a designer's dilemma where they don't know where to draw the line to say, hey, I'm done with my game.
Yeah.
So they're very scared that shit, 300 people are going to see this. I'm not sure if it's ready yet. I'm like, that is the beauty about crowdfunding. They are funding you to complete the game. You put
Yeah.
an idea, concept, be confident about it, and they're there to support you. The reason they want to, like, there's so many things coming out of Indian designers, and it hits a roadblock. They're waiting for a publisher to pick their game up and then
Hmm.
publish it for them. Why? We are in an era where we survive on gigs.
Yeah. There's H.
So
There's HIO where you can. I met this person at T Talks. Why is her name slipping my mind? She designed all
Shraddha.
her own. Yeah. All her own monsters for D&D.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Yeah, Manmita.
Manmita. Manmita.
Yeah.
I love that so much. She said she hadn't read the
I think
monster
she's
manual.
dived 100% into that.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm like, and she like play tested it and play tested it, and she has like the book, or at
She's
least the
coming to
proof
Tea
of the
Talks
book.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, I love to meet. I want to play in one of her games.
You
So
should.
like
You should.
I read through the book that her proof copy, and there's a HIO page, and I'm like, you're done. If you
Publish it.
do a Kickstarter,
Yeah,
like just make
exactly.
a whole bunch of copies, people would love to buy this in India
Yes.
and abroad as well, and not just in India.
So Kickstarter and GameFound founders have spoken to some of the designers here. I did meet some of them in US. They The problem is not on their end. The problem
Hmm.
is on our India side. So there is a
Hmm.
rule in India where if you look at the some of the policies, you cannot hold somebody's credit card details for more than that particular transaction time. So
Okay.
like in Kickstarter and other crowdfunding
Yeah.
platforms, they hold onto your credit card details, and there is something called an escrow account, and if
Hmm.
if it is successful, then it starts drawing the money out,
Yeah.
right? That is not allowed in India. So
Hmm.
until that policy changes, we can't have crowdfunding here, but
Yeah.
we can still provide pre-orders. So if people are interested, they can pre-order the game and wait for it to come out,
Yeah.
until you meet a particular you got to be frugal. We are in a economy where you have to be frugal.
Hmm.
Resources are not coming to you in truckloads, so that's very important. Keeping that in mind, keeping that scope in mind, you have to put your stuff out there. Doesn't matter. I really like this concept where you don't have to be an expert to put that product out. Just put the
Mm.
product out and become an expert later. You know,
Yeah.
that I really like that philosophy, and that's how I've lived as well. So I get an idea, I go out and do it off. I'll be the person who'll burn my fingers. I'm not affecting
Mm.
anybody else.
Mhm.
Nobody has. I'm responsible for the burns that
Yeah.
I went through. I don't think there's anybody in India who's burned their fingers more than us in this particular industry. Believe me, we've tried everything. We've thrown money into the air, hoping that, because we also don't know. We didn't come with a handbook saying, "Hey, this is the way you should run a publishing company," or
Mm.
"This is the way you should do." In fact, that was the funny thing when when IIM or MDI Gurgaon, these PhD, uh, they were, I don't know, somebody reached us out and they said, "Hey, we want to write a case study on your company." I was like, "Okay." We are like so small, tiny. Then they're like, big companies
Mhm.
coming to India. And they said, "Yeah, we are fascinated that a homegrown company, probably one of a kind in this industry, uh, who is working on forward and backward integration." So what they actually meant is, it's not just design and publishing games; it's also forward integration where we're figuring out how to build a distribution network for us, because there are no board game stores,
Mm.
right? You
Not.
can't just, exactly, there's no physical store except for ours. It's right after the shelf is a big store here, right? And we didn't realize when we set up Board Games Bazaar that this is the only board game store in whole of India where you can actually walk in and buy,
Mm.
touch and feel, because it's an experiential product, right? Until
Yeah.
and unless you hold the dabba in your hand, you don't know the value of that product, right? You might see, yeah, you might see this photos and stuff on Amazon and things like that, but once the box arrives in your hand, you're like, holy shit, okay, I want this, right? And since you're there in the store, you'll end up buying other games because you don't want to, if you buy it online on Amazon or something, you get the games like, a square game will be round by the time it reaches you, because they'd have played football on the way,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so you don't have all those issues, and it's like instant gratification. You bought it, you paid, you got it, you took it home and started playing on the same night,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So there's a huge, I'm telling you, man, this video can go on and on, because, as I said, forward and backward integration means everything in the life cycle of a game, starting from conceptualization to design, manufacturing, distribution, running conventions, you know, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, building the ecosystem, growing the community, and supporting the community. It can go on.
So I went through to Mosaic Games, and
Hmm.
like the collection of the game that you have, especially like I think Chai Garam is like one of the things that's like immediately visually stands out the most
I
because of
think
the
the
name.
latest one, Uninvited Guest, was a hit at GenCon.
Oh right,
So
yeah, that's
yeah.
another one. I think
So
I saw recently.
so there's been an interesting change, or a paradigm shift in games being designed now. So the entire world has realized that filling a box with air is an epic waste, and waste of resources, and waste of space, waste of everything. So now the games are becoming more and more compact and more, filled to the brim.
Yeah,
And having said that, hitting that right point where a small box game priced right gives you that wholesome feeling of completing a good game. Once
yeah.
you play the game, you feel, this is good. I felt like I played a game, not like,
Mhm.
okay, this was nice. There are many people who make these small card games, 18 card, 12 card games, and say, hey, you have to play 10 times to play the game. I'm like, why? And you maintain a scoring sheet, and it feels so incomplete. You
Yeah.
might have paid peanuts for it, but then it's not giving you that feeling of, okay, I played a good game today. And people start falling out, and they lose interest also when you say, okay, we're going to be doing the same thing. This round I won, okay, next let's see who's going to win the next round, and then you start keeping track of scores. So Uninvited Guest was designed in reverse. We did not come up with the theme and the game first and then figure out the market. We went backwards. So in fact, that's how we design games. We see the brief that people give us. Like, for example, when we were designing uninvited guests at a wedding or Valam Kali or any of the latest ones, right? There are many games in the pipeline as well. Um, we saw the Indian market. It's
Hmm.
huge. Okay.
Yeah.
They are ready to spend anything less than $1,000 without even batting an eyelid.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to be, they should see the value. They should see, if they're spending 800 rupees, they should see a value. The value proposition of that product should be 1.5x of that. Okay. They
Hmm.
should feel that they're getting a 1,500 rupee game by paying 800 or $1,000. Okay. As a designer, as a publisher, you'll have to work backwards. If I need to sell a product, a person feels that they're getting a 1,500 rupee game in their hand, but manufacture it at 150 rupees.
Hmm.
That is a huge challenge for a designer, right? Because
Very
if
true.
you need to price it 4x or 5x of that production cost, and there is
Hmm.
design costs. You have to pay the artist who done the illustrations. You're obviously paying the game designers or the
Yeah.
developer. So if you account for all of that, and you have to keep all of that within 200 rupees production cost, right, per piece.
Hmm.
What are the game mechanics? What are the themes? What are the narratives? What components can I use? Right? You can't just go ahead and say, okay, to make this game feel like this, I have to put 400 and 480 cards in the game. You'll go mad.
Hmm.
The weight will increase, the size of the dabba will
Yeah.
increase, everything increases by that many fold, right? So you have to work backwards. So this is what we need to do. Okay, this is the market, this is the demographic, this is what I want consumers to feel.
Hmm.
Then you start working backwards. So India is a very unique market that way. And
Hmm.
that's the reason I keep telling you, a lot of people reach out to us when we are licensed to license their games, right? They'll be like, hey, why don't you localize it for India? Localizing for India doesn't make sense because you make it in Hindi, who's going to play? So that's what I keep telling. Hey, we have to make it in English because even an auto rickshaw driver is super fluent with English, and they'll be like, "Oh, but if you make it in English, then what if you sell your games abroad?" They don't. They have zero trust on us.
Hmm.
So we'll have to give them all sorts of promises saying we will make it in this way, so that you
Yeah.
can differentiate that it has come from India. And in case uh, like for example, something which comes in a normal tuck box, they'll say make the box in a different way and put an Hindi rule book or something like that. So so Indian market is so different. First thing we understood is the games are played by a big group.
Hmm.
So a lot of our customers would walk into our store and they're like, dude, all of these international games which are 3,000, 4,000 bucks and all that, they cap out at 4 players.
Yeah.
So my family is 6, 8, 10 people. What do you have that I can actually engage them? Then you can't tell them buy 2 copies and make them play. It doesn't make sense, right? The downtime and all that, it doesn't work. Uno can be done that way, but you can't make the bigger strategy games like that, right?
Yeah.
So we had to design keeping in mind this concept is called scalability in game design, meaning
Okay.
how well does the game scale with 2 players, 3 players, four
Hmm.
players, all the way to 8 players?
Yeah.
Is the engagement the same? Is the are they feeling is like 2 players shouldn't feel overwhelmed with the choices,
Yeah.
whereas an 8 player shouldn't feel that there are no choices, right? So that balance, that scalability is a big deal, and at the same time making the game super replayable. Can you play the game even 1,000 times and still
And
it's like a fresh game,
yeah.
right? So these are important things that we have to figure out when you're designing a game. A lot of people will tell you, oh, focus on theme, focus on artwork, focus on components, and the gameplay. That is not it. There are many other things you need to worry about.
Hmm.
So yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean, game design is not a piece of cake. In fact, all this math and everything that you do to balance a game, that is just 10% of a game's life. The remaining 90% is how you're going to build the hype around the game, how you're going to market it. There's no point if you make a fantastic game and only
Nobody knows
150
about it.
people have it. Yeah, exactly. It's just 150 or 200 people have it. What's the point? So the reason why Wingspan and all of these games are so popular, one, they nailed with the gameplay, and they also had enough stock being circulated. So these are all lessons that we are learning in 2025, and we are very late in the game. And how do we accelerate this, right? So that's
Yeah.
the catalyst that we are using, T-Talks. We want people to come and try. Now at T-Talks, what happened was, as a designer and publisher, that's where we come from. We wanted to support more designers, handhold them through the whole process, and let them get to play test their games and stuff like that.
Mm.
And then we realized a lot of designers started showing up at T-Talks. In fact, in December, you might have seen like 60 plus designers there, right?
Yeah.
There's so many designers who came from across the country
Yeah.
showing games based on Varanasi and stuff. Um, we realized we ourselves who are volunteering at T-Talks couldn't
Mhm.
playtest our games.
Ah.
So because we are running around at T-Talks, running it
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So we decided to do GameX then, and then focus 2 days on game design. Geek out about game design, invite celebrities who are in game design, right?
Mm.
So this time we are getting Jeff Engelstein, and he's actually talking to Matt Leacock and Elizabeth Hargrave and Cole and a lot of other designers. Like, you played Arcs, right?
Mhm.
That's the designers of those games. He wants them to come onto a panel and address the Indian community, and you know answer questions like, as an Indian designer, what are the roadblocks that they see? Are international publishers and consumers excited about Indian themes? These are questions that we will not know. We know because we burnt our fingers by flying and spending lakhs and lakhs and running, going and exhibiting in these international
Yeah.
conventions. But we want other people to know as well. And if they hear it from directly from these guys, the
Mhm.
credibility is a lot higher. Because whenever I say that, people are like, "Oh, Phalgun is always positive about things," right? And yeah, he's overly positive about things. What if this fails, and he won't take responsibility and all that. That's the reason I tell them, hey, come to these Game X and T Talks, pay like a 200 300 rupee pass
Mm.
money, and it's 2 days. You get to see it by yourselves. I mean, so many of the exhibitors who come to T Talks is their first time exhibiting. They've never exhibited before anywhere ever.
Yeah, I've seen that theme. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, for example, at in the May Tea Talks, there were people who came from Mumbai. They had a game called Kabutar.
Mm.
There was this guy with this game called This Is Ridiculous,
Yeah.
which we picked as the best game of Tea Talks because people were playing outside the convention. Wherever the parking bikes and cars were parked, they were sitting there and playing. I was amazed. I was like, wow, okay. You couldn't wait to unbox it once you went home. And they're like, no, we wanted to try it out here, and they wanted to play it. And uh, there was one company who came down from Malaysia who
Yeah.
sold nasi lemak. They all
Yeah.
sold 90 to 80 to 90 copies over 2 days. 80 to 90 copies is what they would have sold over probably 5 or 6 months on
Mm.
Amazon.
Yeah.
And they sold it over 2 days, and they were blown away. They were so happy. And these guys, I had to convince them and educate them what a convention was. They were
Yeah,
like,
it was the first time. Yeah.
yeah, they say a lot of people as a publisher, they want to come there to make money, right? They're like,
Mm.
okay, I spend 30,000 bucks or something like that. I want that to, I should recover that through sales, right?
Yeah.
And they don't have that belief. In fact, the reason why a lot of people don't go to international conventions is because they feel that they will not make that money back,
Mm.
and it's more of an expense. But I keep telling them, you need to look at it as a marketing tool. Also, you will recover anyway, but it's very
Mm.
important for getting social proof, meeting hundreds and hundreds of people, right? And telling them, hey, I exist, and this is my game. Talk to the designer. The credibility is ridiculous when you make those like the connections with the people who come to your booth. And those connections, those customers are going to be your critical mass going forward.
That's
They will
true.
spread, they'll become your marketing uh, personnel, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like even I have talked about, because I played Nancy Lamak and I have like talked about it with other people. Like, hey, I played this amazing game. Uh,
Right.
I don't know if if they are in India now or not, but like
Oh
I've
yeah, yeah.
talked about
No,
them.
they are in Malaysia. They are actually doctors there.
Yeah, yeah.
So two of them are doctors, and one of them is a fashion photographer. He keeps traveling to Germany
Hmm.
and Spain and France and all. Um, their game is very popular. In fact, on AirAsia, you can buy it on the plane. It's there in that magazine.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
it's like
nice.
that popular. So we
Okay,
have stock. We'll be getting that stock to GameX as well. So people can actually buy games at GameX.
nice.
They more importantly, it's focused at game design. So there's
Hmm.
going to be a game jam where people get to just see if they can build a game by understanding, the pillars of a good game, just to get their hands dirty, understand what goes in. They'll also respect other designers and stuff like that. And a lot of designers who want to get their games play tested and probably picked up. So it's there's nothing like physical play testing, man.
Yeah,
uh, Looking at people's expressions when they're playing, it motivates you, and you learn a lot also from there. Are a lot of takeaways. If a person is getting super frustrated, you'll never get to know that on an online platform.
yeah,
When there are 5 6 people playtesting a game, and if people are gravitating to one particular table constantly, then there's something that he's doing right which you're not doing right. Why is it that people are gravitating to another designer's game than yours? So all this is like a reality check. Lot of designers think that one day they'll be driving a Lamborghini. Okay, so putting that into a perspective is very important, you know
yeah.
um and honestly speaking, it's high time we put India on the world map, man. It's we're hardly getting any content out there.
Very
So I
rarely.
Yeah, in fact, content creation also with related to tabletop gaming, you're
Yeah,
probably one of the handful of people out there.
yeah.
So
There are other people, but I don't know how much they're doing right now.
it's very
Like
sporadic. It's
it's
not
very sporadic. It's like either mostly review based, or like,
exactly,
this is how you play this game based, rather than,
exactly,
like a different content creation also. So like
exactly.
I'm hoping, like, the more people do this, like I'm hoping like somebody else also starts doing this. So not only is there like just competition, but also there's camaraderie. Like, hey, we can
Exactly.
promote it together, and like this whole thing can be
100%.
big, you know.
100%. So my
Uh,
goal is very simple now. I mean, I'm at a stage in my life where I just want to help people climb the ladder, experience things, because there's so much of talent and creativity, and what is pulling them down is probably, like, first of all, there are no platforms or opportunities for them to showcase their stuff. But second
yeah,
is, they're worried about home loans and car
yeah,
loans and EMIs, and you know
yeah, same.
I keep telling them, hey, being running your own show and being an entrepreneur, you can actually, there is no limit to how much you can scale. In a company, you're always hitting a,
Cap,
you know
yeah.
yeah. So but when you're an entrepreneur, you can actually be very, very creative. But yeah, taking that first step is not a joke. uh,
It's not. It's
I
a
don't think
huge
I can
risk.
ever go back to a 9 to 5 job. I mean, having said that, I work 24/7 even on Sundays. But
Yeah,
it's
it's
fun.
different.
We're designing games. We're playing games constantly. We're laughing at the table. We're discovering new stories. I just love that. I mean, I'm surprised to find a partner and wife and co-founder who's equally obsessed. Couldn't have done it otherwise. But now with Tea Talks, we've realized that there are many, many, many other pillars, which is called the community, right? So
Yeah,
the community coming together is just awesome. Uh, I'm so thrilled that we have such a vibrant community when it comes to tabletop gaming, and they're very friendly. They're very nice, very sweet across the world, not just in India,
yeah, absolutely.
because everybody
Uh,
know how hard we are all working. So
oh, if anybody visits Detox, they can see like the volunteers running around and like doing all the work all the time. So
This
yeah,
time we're
there's not
changing the format a little. With some learnings from GenCon we are
mm-hmm.
implementing here. Uh, Many things. One is guided tables. So these are
Mm-hmm.
called events in GenCon. So guided tables, now it is opening up a whole new door to get meetup organizers to come there. So they don't have to sponsor Tea Talks, because initially
Mm-hmm.
that was what we were asking for, cafes and meetup organizers to
Yeah.
sponsor the convention to get these kind of privileges. Instead, now we've broken it down to bite size, where anybody can actually book a table and
Mm-hmm.
showcase their skills and build the network. And they could do like a private giveaway at their table, and people
Mm-hmm.
would be so privileged. That creates a FOMO as well. They're like, damn, I missed that. They actually gave away some badges or some custom dice or whatever, or mugs
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. It'll be so cool, and they'll remember that meetup organizer and the game they played, the connections they made with this guy. Next time you go
Yeah.
to Hyderabad or Chennai or Pune or Kochi or wherever, you'll be like, oh wow, so I know that there is this guy there in this city, I know this guy in this city.
Yeah.
And that is the kind of network we want to build.
Yeah. Like I saw like a few format changes, especially with like regards to slots for
Yeah,
exhibitors and
exactly.
etc. And
Exhibitors will have slots, I mean, their own booths, but for
yeah.
meetup organizers, we want them to have a space, and also game designers, we're making it slots so that they get to chill and play other games. Not just
Yeah.
sit at the table. They're like, shit, I paid money for 2 days. I have to be here. They don't feel
Yeah.
like leaving and checking it out, checking anything else. So yeah, we're very excited, and thank you so much for coming to December and May.
Yeah,
Being
and I'll meet you in December as well. I will obviously be coming in because that's the
awesome.
low period of my day job, so I don't have to worry about you know because US is on holiday the whole week.
Mm, good,
Uh,
awesome. I hope more people get motivated like you to make these content.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. And yeah,
I think we
thank
should
you.
keep putting it out there. So,
We should always be like, hey, if you are interested, one, come to Detox, go to GameX, go to your closest board game cafe, meetup, look up things on meetup.com or on
yep,
Facebook.
book
There
my show.
there are things going on everywhere. People are trying to put it out. Look over in Instagram, go through hashtags, find people. You can do that right now. So uh, once you're done with this interview, of course. So Falgun, thank you so much for talking to me. It's been a wonderful
It's an
time,
honor,
and
man.
uh,
I never got to
pleasure is all
talk to
mine.
you ever, so I'm so happy
Yeah,
that we caught up
yeah,
through at least this, and people get to hear, and at least I don't have to repeat the same thing 100 times.
yeah.
So
It'll be like, hey, this is the link.
that's one of the reason we started GameX and T Talks as well. It's like I would give this monologue to everybody, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Just do this event and get 100
Yeah.
people out there.
Thank you, Falgun, and to everyone else. There are things going on my channel, so I'll be linking all of those either here, or in the description or in the comments. So check those out. Check out God Clear Crisper, the my first
Nice.
multilingual play being done in Hindi, English, French, Spanish, and Mandarin. So by the time this comes out, I hopefully
What?
all of the episodes has been is out. So go check it out. We've been sponsored by Evil Hat, the publishing company. So we're so grateful to have them as collaborators on this. And I have a lot more in store, more interviews from T Talks, and more interviews coming up from the next T Talks as well, which I can
Yeah.
guarantee right now. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.
We are in an era where there's infinite amount of content being generated by such
Yeah,
extremely talented people across the world. Uh, so that puts a lot of pressure on us who are creators
yeah.
sitting in India. In fact, I was actually talking to one guy he's a Desi, but he's in Thailand. And I was actually talking to him, and the kind of things that they're doing in Thailand, I think we are around 2 3 years, behind the
God
world.
damn.
Yeah. So, like for example, that we're organizing Tea Talks this
Yeah.
December, right? And
Yeah.
we're doing the 3-day event and
Yeah.
all that. There's such a, it's like a complete different character that this Tea Talks. I mean, not even a character. It's like a different beast. Each
Mm.
beast has a complete different composition. Like we have been to every damn convention from Japan to US, right? We just came
Yeah.
back from GenCon last month. It's crazy.